Out with the old Aussie, in with the new. McLaren have decided to move away from Daniel Ricciardo for the 2023 season, replacing him with the exciting young rookie Oscar Piastri. Now, this is a very bold move for a team that have very high ambitions. Choosing a rookie, especially one that's never been part of McLaren's driver academy, means taking a big gamble. But it's a gamble McLaren are willing to take. But what it does mean is Ricciardo is left without a drive for 2023. Don't forget, this is a driver that briefly challenged for a championship only 5 years ago in 2018, and now he's likely out of Formula 1. So whichever way you look at it, this was a big decision by McLaren. A decision with a boatload of ramifications. I guess the most important question is, did they make the right choice? Well, in order to unpick this, we need to look into Daniel Ricciardo and whether he has the potential to perform at the level we all know he can. Well, Danny Ric first came onto the scene when he beat his reigning champion teammate Sebastian Vettel at Red Bull in 2014. And for those 5 years at Red Bull, he managed to win 7 races, with one of them being his famous win at Monaco in 2018. However, during that 2018 season, he was faced with a dilemma. Either stay at Red Bull and go face to face with the extremely talented and ever-evolving Max Verstappen, or start somewhere fresh and somewhere new. Well, he chose option 2 and decided to move to Renault, where he had 2 decent seasons outperforming both his teammates, but he never came close to a race win. In fact, he rarely ever stood on the podium, getting only 2 third-place finishes in 2 years. And so with Renault failing to live up to their promises of giving him a competitive car, he once again jumped ship for the 2021 season, but this time with McLaren. Well, at McLaren he was given a pretty competitive car that he could fight for podiums with, and even wins. But he seriously underestimated the teammate he was up against. By the end of the season, Lando Norris beat Ricciardo in the championship by 45 points, the first time he was beaten by a teammate since being at Red Bull. Moving into 2022, there was hope that Ricciardo would have found his feet in McLaren and bounced back. However, things only got worse. So far this season, Ricciardo has only managed 6-point finishes compared to Norris's 16, and currently stands P12. 76 points behind Lando. Now, the main reason for this is he lacks confidence in the car and in himself, and once you have some bad performances, it starts a negative ripple effect that a driver can really struggle to break out of. Now, Ricciardo was contracted with McLaren for the 2023 season as well, but McLaren had seen enough and paid a hefty amount to break his contract and bring in someone new. That someone new is Oscar Piastri. For those that aren't aware of Piastri, he is a young Australian driver who's been tearing up the junior categories. In 2019, he won the Formula Renault Euro Cup Series in his first season. In 2020, he won the Formula 3 Championship in his first season. And in 2021, he won the Formula 2 Championship also in his first season. That's an achievement that's something Charles Leclerc, George Russell, and even his future teammate Lando Norris all failed to do. And not to mention, he won the 2021 Formula 2 Championship by 60.5 points in a championship where they all have equal machinery. Now, we have to mention the way in which McLaren secured him for the 2023 season, because it shows you just how valuable this guy really is. Basically, he had been part of the Alpine Driver Academy since 2020, and so when Fernando Alonso decided to head to Aston Martin, Alpine was set to promote Piastri into that Alpine seat alongside Esteban Ocon. However, they hadn't signed any legal documents to make this happen. However, Alpine made a public announcement that Piastri would be driving for them in 2023. But Piastri came out saying this was untrue and that they hadn't agreed on a contract. Now, while all of this was going on, Piastri was negotiating a deal with McLaren to replace Ricciardo. And well, when this came to light, a huge legal battle ensued between McLaren and Alpine, with McLaren coming out on top, soon officially announcing Piastri as a McLaren Formula 1 driver. Now, we've never seen a contract dispute this public and controversial for any driver, less so for a rookie with zero experience in Formula 1. So I guess the main question then is, will he deliver for McLaren? Well, as I mentioned, McLaren are a serious team with serious ambition, so he will be required to perform at a high level quite quickly, which for a rookie can be quite challenging. Well, McLaren do have quite a varied history of rookies in the past as well. You've got Kevin Magnussen in 2014, who survived 1 season at the team, Stoffel Van Dorn, who lasted only 2, but you've also got great successes in Lewis Hamilton and Lando Norris. However, in both Lewis and Lando's case, they had already been well integrated into the McLaren outfit as junior drivers. Piastri doesn't have that luxury. But I'm sure Piastri will be given the time and resources to help optimise his car and make him feel comfortable. After all, Piastri has proven he is a seriously hardworking and intelligent driver. McLaren believe he is the perfect combination of personality and potential, and the fact Alpine tried as hard as they did to keep him speaks volumes. And not to mention, that time he spent at Alpine studying their environment and learning from a true great like Fernando Alonso could mean he is a serious force to be reckoned with. So, did McLaren make the right decision going for Piastri instead of Daniel Ricciardo for 2023? Well, as always, we're going to have to wait and see. But with Ricciardo's performance showing no signs of improvement, coupled with the chance of their rivals Alpine taking Piastri themselves, it seemed like a bit of a no-brainer. As for Ricciardo's future, well, it looks fairly likely that he may become reserve driver for Mercedes, but that's still in the mix. But he does need to be careful that if he does take a sabbatical year away from the sport, that it doesn't turn into a premature retirement like we've seen in the past with Mika Hakkinen. All in all, I do think McLaren have made the right decision. Piastri has shown signs that he has what it takes to be a future world champion, and I've got to say I'm really excited to see what he can bring to the grid.